What's up everybody? So after 2 years of collecting Pokemon cards, my collection has grown exponentially. And I thought it was finally time I send in some cards to get graded. Now the golden question is, which cards should you grade? I'm going to be going over all of that in this video, so let's go ahead and begin. Okay guys, so with me here I have some cards from my collection, which are probably the most expensive cards I own. And I've been separating these cards because these are cards that I'm most likely going to send to get graded. Okay guys, so now which cards should you grade? Well, that will be the cards in the best condition. So let me explain. Here I have this 2016 Pokemon X and Y Evolutions Mewtwo EX. And this card is a Gem Mint 10. As you can see, there's a beautiful card. It's protected in this hard plastic here. And as you could tell, this card is in great shape. So there is 4 criteria to tell what grade a Pokemon card is going to get, or any card in general. So number 1 would be the corners. If the card has any chips, any dings, anything like that, that's going to reduce the score. Criteria number 2 would be the edges here. If there's any discoloration or just anything messed up in the lines here, that's also going to reduce the grade on the card. Next one would be the surface of the card here, the front and the back of course. If there's any scratches on the card, any discoloration, anything like that, that is going to reduce the score of the card. And number 4, and probably the most important criteria, would be the centering of the card. If you take a look at this card, at the artwork, it looks pretty well centered compared to the borders here. The gold borders, they look pretty aligned. So now let me show you an example of a card that might not get that good of a grade. So with me here, I have this Blastoise from the base set 2. Now this card looks pretty good in terms of the corners, the edges, and the surface. There's not a scratch on there. But the one thing I would say with this card is that it's not centered as well as it could have been. As you could tell on the left side here, it looks a bit heavy compared to the right side. There's more of the yellow border here on the left side. So that could probably reduce the chances of this card getting graded as a 10. Another example would be this Lugia V-Star. Let me go ahead and take it out of here. It's kind of hard to see in those sleeves. Now again with this Lugia, the surface looks great. The corners are great. It's not banged up, anything like that. This card is in great shape. There's a small little chip here. I don't know if you guys could see that. But aside from that, this card looks great. The only other problem is that it's not centered too well. As you can see on the right side here, this card is right side heavy. You see that silver border here. It's a lot thicker than the left side. So again, that could reduce the chances of this getting graded as a 10. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this Snorlax here. So this Snorlax, it looks pretty well centered. The surface looks great. The edges, the corners, there's no dings on it, anything like that. So I'm pretty sure if I were to send in this Snorlax, I would probably guess it will get a 10. So my advice to you guys is to check your cards. Make sure they're not banged up, anything like that. They're not scratched. And look at the centering, because to me, that's probably the biggest part when a card is getting graded. It's the most noticeable right off the bat. So another example of a card that looks pretty good is this Lugia EX from Ancient Origins. Again, take a look at the surface. There's no scratches, anything on it. The edges look pretty good. The corners, there's no discoloration on the card. And the centering on this card, I think it's pretty great. It looks pretty even on both sides. Even the back here looks pretty good. There's just a small little chip on the top here. But aside from that, this card looks great as well. I will definitely be sending this one in. Alright guys, so now another factor to take into consideration when sending cards to get graded is that card's price going to increase when you send it in? Alright guys, now let me explain. So I have this Mewtwo here. This card raw, meaning it hasn't been graded yet, goes for about $10. Now this card as a PSA 10, it goes for $75. As you can see, that is a $65 price increase. But you have to be careful. If this card graded as a PSA 5 or 6 or 7, it wouldn't be as valuable. I'm not sure how much those go for. I think it'll probably be worth in between $30, $40. So at that point, it probably wouldn't be a good idea to get that card graded. So guys, the best place to check how much a graded card goes for is eBay. If you just go on there, check the card you want to get graded, you put Snorlax PSA 10, it will tell you how much that Snorlax is going for. So with me now, I have this Metal Charizard from the Celebrations UPC. Now this card raw is worth $125 right now. Might have gone up actually, I'm not sure. But if you grade this card and it manages to get a PSA 10, guys, This card is worth over $2,000. So this is a card I'm definitely going to consider sending in. But again, you have to look at the condition, make sure it's in great shape. And you know, ask your friends, ask people what you think this card might grade for. You could even put up a picture in any group that you guys are in, any Discord or Facebook groups, and have people give their opinions if maybe it's a card that is worth getting graded. So that is another thing to take into consideration when grading your cards. If you see potential that it will get a good grade, then I say go for it. And again, guys, another good reason just to get cards graded is just that it's in this protective plastic. If you drop this or anything like that, the card won't get damaged. So if you have a card that's very valuable to you, I would definitely recommend getting it graded as well. Anyway, guys, I hope this video was able to provide some value and feedback. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm going to figure out what cards I'm going to send in now, and I will see you guys next time.